Look at beard meets food, alright?
Who?
Beard meets food. That's Kermit. Just have a look.
What is it?
It's your doppelganger, mate.
Good morning, it's Saturday the 9th of December 2017 and arrived yesterday, Friday, late afternoon, and set up my brand new mobile bungalow. I got myself a fishing bivvy, but more about that later on. But I'm at Camp Shaky, the Christmas annual do. There's just over 100 people here, and there's more turning up today to stay tonight until tomorrow, Sunday. It's going to be a sunny, bright day today, but the temperature's going to rise a little bit. It was -7 to -8 last night. So you can see I've got some additional new kit that I christened. 5-season sleeping bag, got zips either side, crash zip so I can get out either side when and where I want to. I slept on what is classed as a fishing folding bed. And of course, of those that follow my travels, I also had the comfort of being able to sit up. I'm just about stand up inside here, so it's a really good format and shape to this bivvy, after hunting around for a long time to actually find one that was at a good price and also that would be appropriate for my use. So it's classed as a 5-season sleeping bag. You can see it's sort of quite chunky and thermal, which enabled me just to sleep with underneath this sort of lightweight zipper fleece is my t-shirt and vest. Straight in the sleeping bag, no softies, things like that. But I did actually I took my outer trousers, cargo, day wear trousers off, and underneath I had my Czech army issue thermal lining trousers, quilted. But then underneath those I had just a simple sort of natural fibre long johns. So it was 2 layers, and then my trousers were over the top during the day, but this kept me snug and warm. And my pillow under my head was my multi-pocket tactical jacket, and inside that was my Mandarin jacket, British Army issue, sort of thermal liner. The jacket version of the trousers that I'm wearing, but this is British Army issue. Sort of folded that up, and that sort of had a nice angle for me to actually sleep on. But in a moment I'm going to get layered up again, put me outdoor day wear over the top of what I'm wearing, get myself thermal layered, make something to eat, and then show you around the site, some other people's setups, and see what I get up for the rest of the day. And of course include the aspect and spec of my new mobile home. Oh yeah, and a final thing about layers, I had my nice thermal socks on, which I wore inside my boots, but they kept me warm inside the sleeping bag. And just underneath the foot end of the bed was my boots, just sort of placed out the way. I wasn't really going to be able to keep them warm in this weather, but at least it was just tidy out the way. And then my trousers, just so they didn't get over cold, were just sort of insulated underneath my foot end of my sleeping bag. So doing a sort of touch test, they just actually feel like I've got them out of the wardrobe. So that was a real result, and without any chance of them getting damp from the atmosphere. And on a final note, I think I better apply that same best practice to these wet wipes, because I've got to pull them out and they are sort of a bit tangled up, frozen. So I'll just sort of defrost them a bit with the warmth of my hand, hopefully without my hand getting cold. Then I can give myself a little fresh and wet wipe around my face and neck and hands and that, and then get the day on the go. But I think these will go probably at my foot end with my trousers for tonight. So as I put my day wear cargo trousers back on, I didn't bring my knee pads because I wasn't expecting to do a lot of sort of hard graft work and what have you. But obviously from sort of walking a bit of damp and then just kneeling on the floor, albeit I was actually using my kneeling mat, just sometimes you get a bit of dirt on it. So actually these little marks here were sort of very much like what I've got around here, where they're sort of scuffing and catching on sort of bits of grass that might have a bit of gunk on them. So of course when they dried out I just agitated them, shook it out, became dust, and they're a little bit more presentable without looking filthy dirty like I've walked through some sort of quagmire. But that's a little tip there, once it's dry just brush them out, and saves me changing my trousers, which I have actually got in my kit bag. A pair of dyed black MTP army trousers, just in case, you know, there was an accident with with your clothing and what have you. and you need to change them, but it's not detrimental for these trousers definitely to be changed. And because my car is just behind me there, it's just easy access. I can load the car up with maybe extra things, not things that I didn't need because that's pointless, but extra things where I thought, okay, if I just did want to change my trousers or any other sort of extra bits and bobs, then of course I could do that. So before I venture out into the daylight, you can see a little bit of a Forest of Dean hill in our view. Clear sky, a little bit of misty cloud, but otherwise it's all wintry and Christmassy. You can see where the snow is on the ground outside. But from the view outside, which we'll travel about a little bit in a little while, to the view inside, you can see I've got my double burner common stove on top of my newly acquired table that you'd see when I've actually been out wild camping under the tarp. I've got a table that I've had this since I was a kid. All my stuff I'm sort of like digging out of antiquity. I've had this since I was a kid. I think my mum bought it when I was ill one day off school when I was about 11 or 12 years old, so it could actually go over the side of my bed. It's got sort of adjusters at the back that can raise the table, so I thought I'm going to bring that with me, and I'm going to have a little bit of lap of luxury, can set all my food out, which was carried in this box which I could put underneath my bed. There's some foodie things in there. There was also my faithful food bag, which I've sort of unloaded the majority of things that I knew I would need over the next sort of 24 hours, and my 10 litres of water. The last time I camped out in this sort of luxury was when I was about 15, 16 in the Adventure Scouts, and I was in a 12 berth, massive grey Apex with walled sides, canvas tent. And we had all the sort of mod cons. Well, I mean, in those days you didn't really have mod cons or any sort of technical stuff, but you know, you had things set out, table, just like you just replicated what you could do domestically at home in this massive great canvas tent. And then we had a mess tent for food and admin and all that sort of thing, and a communal tent. And that was the last time I actually camped out with this sort of principle of everything sort of convenient, tables, everything set out, rather than me sort of roughing it. I mean, I like to rough it on the ground, on an inflatable mat, and on a tarp, under a tarp. But yeah, this was quite novel. It was a bit strange, you know, not sort of, yeah, I'll tug myself up the arm and protect myself against the wind under a plastic sheet, you know. Yeah, this was quite good. I think I could probably get used to it, especially at events like this. As I've mentioned about my chair, my folding fishing chair, that I'll be using it for sort of bushcraft meets and that, so I sort of carried it around with me a little bit last night, and as I will be doing later on tonight when we sort of start socialising, I meet up with loads of people that I haven't seen for quite a while and tally up with the rest of those later on today. And I'll be taking my chair with me so I can just sit in comfort rather than struggling and sitting on a little fold-up pocket stool. So anyway, let's get the breakfast on the go. All day breakfast in a tin, and all-in-one coffee, and then I'll have that also with a chapati bread. Instead of like toast, anything like that, I'll probably butter that, and that'll be my breakfast to go on the go once I've got the stove sparked up, and then to venture outside. There's a communal tent from last night. So the water's boiled and just made the brew, and I've just been sort of changing it, not toasting it, sort of crisp, but when you do heat up, I mentioned this on a camp I did with some guys out in the woods a few years back. There's 4 of us went out, and I was saying about putting the ciabatta on top of the burner of a single burner stove, like a little camping gas cooker I had, and it just changes the flavour. It's got a nice flavour to it. It's just if it's come out the oven. So I'm just sort of like putting that over the top of it. You see it's changed colour a little bit from since I took it out of the packet, and that's just enough now. Put it on the plate. I've got enough ventilation either side, and the other side of the door is partially open. I can easily get out, safe ventilation whilst using the cooker. So I can eat the breakfast out of the tin. I'm going to heat it up in some leftover water that I did my ball in the bag meatballs and pasta in, late night meal. Some water left over, I've just added a bit. I'm going to bring that to a boil, then I'm going to put the tin in the water and just let the water heat through. It'll take a bit longer than just empty it out in the saucepan, but I can't be bothered then to spend the time in cleaning out the saucepan ready to cook in it the following time, sort of later on this afternoon. I know, you know, there's concerns about, you know, reheating things in a tin because of the lining, that sort of thing. You know, I very seldom do it. It's not my staple diet, let alone that stuff. Convenient food when I'm out. And just heating it up in a tin is convenience, and it's not really going to give me any health problems. So I've had comments and responses before from people, which is, you know, which is valid. But in this instance, you know, this is probably the second time in 9 months that I've done it. So I'm not really going to get any problems with that. So once that's boiled through, just to sort of cover a few points, just in case people say, oh, you shouldn't be eating out of the tin and heating the food up in it. Just for convenience, especially if it was a survival situation, you had no choice, then you'd have to. And if that was the case, because that's already cooked, I'd eat it cold. But I don't want to. Convenience heating up with the water, with the ciabatta. So it heats through easier and quicker. I can feel it sort of softening now, where the sort of heat sort of takes the solidity of the juice and makes it a little bit more runny. I cut the sausages so they'll heat up quicker, and then I can also use that water for pre-cooked tender lamb shank, which is boiled in the bag for about 20 minutes. Then I'll eventually add some tinned veg, again convenience, to actually then heat up in the saucepan once I've emptied the water. So yeah, so it's got 3 practical uses. That'll be the 3rd time I'll use the water. Even though I've got more than enough to do bits of washing up and rinsing and that sort of thing, but I just felt like sort of applying a few aspects of thinking, well, if I was limited with water, how could I go around heating up the food, cooking it and that sort of thing. So I haven't actually soiled this saucepan once in the 4 meals that I've actually made since being here. This being the 4th one, because I've used the water to boil up and heat the items. And yeah, I can see that now. A little bit more fuel, yes, definitely can be used a bit, but I've got enough fuel, and just say for the convenience, basically weighing up the pros and cons, do this, do that, then you know, what's the outcome that you want, basically using the same water and heating things up in it. So let's get that down my throat. Breakfast is served. As I said, presentation is everything. Oh yeah, that took just under 7 minutes from putting in the hot water, then it was boiling up, to then stirring it, twisting it, circulating the heated ingredients. And that, now I have to take my fingers away because it's too hot. But I don't think to the heat for too long that would affect, you know, the principle of the lining of the tin. Considering those ingredients, part of the cooking process would have been in that sealed tin anyway. So all I've done is just heat it through just for the convenience, so that's going to warm the cockles of my heart before I go out into that lovely fresh air. That sort of Christmassy time of year look. So before I have a little recce around on site and bump into people, have a bit of a chinwag. Some of my stuff just ready. Some guys are actually selling some stuff, so I've got my little wallet there, my TC12 torch, just in case I don't get back before dark, and my little EDC, which I've started to incorporate a little bit more regular. I mean, I've had this for a good few years. I say, follow my travels will know about this, but I'll take that with me. It's got basic stuff, so if anyone does need a light to start a fire still, a little torch, that's always on me. And my phone's been on charge with a little charge stick, so if I want to sort of upload some pictures to Instagram and also store some pictures for the video, that's all ready to go. And then all that stuff will go in my multi-pocket smock, but I'm not going to wear this underneath. I'll put it on later on. That's what I actually wore yesterday in -7 to 8 underneath the jacket, so I'll put that nice and safely in the bag. But just a quick look at the sleeping bag. As you can see, it's got 2 zips, one either side, identical. You could use it as a separate blanket or a double blanket. It hasn't got a hood, but I found the top end I've actually used to put whatever pillow system underneath, and then this sort of drapes round, and I've got my hat on anyway, where my, let's say where my hand is, and this is all nice and cosy around the side of my face. So I gave that a practice run and actually fell asleep for 2 hours when I tested it on the bed, when I got the new bed just over a week ago. So I've accumulated all this stuff within just over a week. And as I say, follow my travels, you'll think, what is he doing? He's got a mobile home. Everything for a camper van except for wheels, tent version. So yeah, this has been really good. And what I'm going to do is I gave the sleeping bag a bit of an airing, and I'm just going to fold the bed up, and just so it keeps any dampness that could circulate round, If there's any drips of condensation from the roof, then of course it will actually go onto the bed, not the actual sleeping bag. Plus as well, it just gives me a bit more admin space, but I've been able to put stuff underneath, so it's not as if it's taken up excessive floor space. So yeah, so far so good. I'm champing at the bit to use this system again, but I'm here for another sort of 24 hours, so it's going to be fun and games. Using this kit, which is a real novelty for me, because as I say, it's been many years since I've had this sort of setup. You might want to call it a sort of Cozyville basher setup. That squeaking in the background is some of the organisers said there's no timetable to do events here. It's just a social meet. Last night I was having a chat with the lads that actually live in this Gloucester area, and it was really interesting. And they were talking about the history of the forest, some of the politics that are going on with the Forestry Commission, the wild boar, the dilemma of the wild boar in the forest going into urban areas, into domestic environments and all that sort of thing. So it's really interesting. But a couple of guys I was talking to last night, they're doing a fire drill, bow drill, little workshop for people that have tried it and just want to sort of brush up on their skills. I brought my 25 litre day sack, 2 pouches on the side. I've improvised and carabined a sort of matching, it doesn't matter, I've got a couple of these different colours, but I've just attached, so I've got an extra pouch system, a response pack, and then the waterproof cover, and then in the lid is also a pouch. So I brought that with me in case we were going to go for a little walk, as they did the last time I was here, but I actually missed it. I wasn't able to do it, but a walk into the forest, or just if, you know, I'm going somewhere, don't want to get caught out like I did last time when I did Hobo Homestead at Sam's place and utilised my food bag. So I just thought, right, this time, got the car, I'm bringing virtually everything but the kitchen sink, and that's just there for backup if, you know, we're going to go for a little walkabout and I need to take some bits and pieces with me.
I can't call it off there. I don't know. Yeah, but they're even hard to be called.
If you've got that ticket, yeah, you'll have to use the guy with the ticket.
That's raffle. Here's a man that helped me put up my bivvy. Jay, Grizzly Jay.
How you doing?
You alright, mate? There's another one you might know as the clam. And there's always this one here, which I forgot his name.
Kermit.
Yeah, that's right. Giving me, actually, the guy was giving me a real life history of the Forest of Dean last night. Really good.
Yeah. Andy, do you want to come and pick the winner out for the British Legion staff?
I'll tell you what, I'll come to you. Any way you like, mate. As long as it's my number.
No, it's not on.
What do you want, Prepper?
Hey! Hey, you weren't putting that in your wood burner.
Cheers, mate. There you go, sir. If I ask you to go in there and
Oh, you're
We have got 2 more of them staffs in the main bathroom as well. Yeah, so Oswald phone mate, you can do one of those. Okay, all the prizes, we haven't got a first, second and third. Basically, it's the first person called out. We'll get to choose what they want and then just work the way down till it's all gone. That's 4, 3. Right, you just go in there, pick anything you want off the table. Obviously, if it's a knife, you have to get your dad to come in. Yeah.
Because I've no
Hey, Sly. Sly, give me a sly look with his other half. Cheers, mate.
Steam your lens up.
Oh, don't.
Actually, a little bit closer.
That's better, Alan. Right,
Someone's just won a prize, but they really, you know, they liked it, but said they were going to give it back, but then didn't, and they're going to donate £50 to the British Legion as an extra charity thing. So yeah, that's a nice benevolent attitude coming from all outdoorsy people.
To be drawn is number 513. 513. Oh, come on, Stevie. Last minute entry as well.
Are we doing this or what?
Drop it slightly to get it in.
They don't do athletic fit.
Come on then, Job, hurry up. We can hide you.
If you stand at the back, just put your head through.
These are all the guys that organise Camp Shaky.
Who is that man?
Oh,
Who's the one that
on.
squeal? Look at the camera, boys.
Shaky!
Stone Brian. Did we mention Stone Brian?
8 or 6.
Have we ever mentioned Stone Brian?
Yeah.
Team there. I reckon we have.
The other way of doing it is you literally got to chisel it out or use a knife. But if the wood is supple enough, especially if you've got a woodworker's voice with the big jaws.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So put it offset, but you've got the 2 bars and the threaded bit in the middle.
Yep.
Put it up through and have it proud.
Yep.
Right? I spray some linseed oil or something to let it supple up. But don't put it where you're going to cut. Just want it to sort of move
Use a little
around
bit
here
this
a bit. I wouldn't.
No?
I want something harder than what this
Yeah,
is. You want this like ash, hickory. Hickory can be hard, but it moves like a baseball bat, whereas oak's like, I ain't budging because it's harder. That's why oak burns. Ash just goes to nothing. That's why we call it ash. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you find an old oak chair leg or something,
Have
if you got a sander
I'm tutor. Got
in a school
construction.
thing. Oh, okay. So you can either you want it to stop on a shoulder where it's far ridiculously bigger than what that is.
Yeah.
So you want to be about there. So when you chisel that out, there's enough wood there before you've rebaited it all up here that it's going to sit on a shoulder.
Make that. Couldn't I do the same up here and just move that up?
You'd have to scarf it and glue it. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the wrong handle and the wrong.
See that handle? That's a working.
It's a felling axe. Yeah.
Working handle.
That's a hatchet.
made that?
And not only that, it won't work as well because look how the head cants back. So, if you got a bandsaw where you are,
Yep.
right, get a piece of ash, pick a handle, sandbit looking handle on the internet, give yourself a template, and just scribe it on a thing, and make sure when you look at the heel end of this, you want the grain looking like that, not, or certainly not.
Yeah.
And you can get the perfect piece of I mean, ash is something you know everything's come through, and that at the moment is the wrong handle completely to this. Yeah. So you want a big block of ash. You want it about that wide in order to take into account your knob and your head. And you just scribe it on, bandsaw it out, rip it through, and then you can just, if you had an axe, you do one cut, but you want to run it on a G clamp, sort of like that, with 2 blocks of wood on it. Put it through, bandsaw it again, and you know when you steer it through a bandsaw, you can stop remove as you're going. Yeah. So that I would say would be far better, especially if you run it along a fence or a false fence. You can take the stock out that you need. He's on, and then you put your wedge in like that, and your wedge is still stuck out. He won't go down any more, and he's up. And then you can sort of bandsaw it off and glide it across the top. Sometimes you can leave as a recess and put some hot wax in it. Yeah. And then go across the top. Just sort of fill it.
So it's coming up to about 6 o'clock. Come back to my bivvy. Off that little walkabout, the raffle draw, having a chinwag, and then Scott of Wessex blades. Just helping out someone with putting an axe head on a wooden staff. Got some tent pegs, guys selling bits of kit, all brand new but at really good prices. So I've got some tent pegs to go along with the T-bar pegs. 6 T-bar pegs come with this fishing bivvy, which go in the 6 main points, but then of course to create more of a shape you have to add your own tent pegs. So I got some extra ones, and just by chance a guy was selling these with all these other outdoors kit, which is perfect, virtually identical, same type of T-pegs to the ones that I've got. So that was a result, and then made my way over to the kitchen as part of the estate of the fishing and camping site here, and got my festive rolls with cranberry sauce, stuffing, turkey, bit of gravy and some pigs in blankets, and that's going to go down now. A little bit of festive cheer food for the season, and replace some calories as it's getting nice and cold now. And I say nice because it feels fresh. I've got the door open, and outside are still people being active, having a chinwag. So I'm just sitting down enjoying a little bit of bite to eat. Then I'm going to put the stove on and make myself a nice hot cup of tea. So this festive meal was made on site by the people that run the fisheries and the campsite here, and all included with a price of being here for a long weekend. So all good stuff to build up to the festive season.
I see him.
And there's the one me and Eddie Mac.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
He's got a fag on, look.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Wade? The Moonless Gathering video?
No.
Oh, here we go.
The thing is, though,
Yeah, but he wants it. He keeps saying, send it to me.
No, because it's good crap to look back at.
No, it's funny, it's funny, it's funny. Don't worry. There you go. He's on the stage, look.
And a fucking arm.
what on earth are you doing? Pete, what are you doing?
Watch him come over, look.
Is that a milk bottle?
I'm on the, yeah, it's honey mead. And they was doing all that honey mead and
Listen.
natural ale and whatever.
That's when we had to make a Zoom where the trousers in his ass.
I'm just in that.
Chilling, no? That's the second time now, isn't it?
I'm just in that. When we had that meal. God, sat there in that. Not you. Chilling out. I'm in a bit of a room. I'm flicking through my phone.
It's now Sunday morning at about 8:30, and just a quick reality check. It's a snow whiteout. Nice and picturesque, but it's causing problems from what the guys have found out from some of the traffic reports. So what I'm going to do now is, I've got my breakfast on the go, scrambled egg and beans, butter chapati, brew. So I've got plenty of calories because my plan is is to get winched out from where I've snowed in, because I think my car's going to be stuck considering the conditions, and double check the route that I want to take to go home and see if it's going to be passable, because I don't really want to be staying put here for over 24 to 40 hours and the weather's going to get worse. But when I get sort of halfway home, the weather's going to change a bit, and it's going to be mainly rain and quite sort of blustery winds with a very light touch of snow, because it's going to be moving, the snow's going to be moving a little bit the direction of where I'm going to be going. So one thing at a time. So within the next hour I'm going to know what my strategy is going to be in logistics to get back to terra firma bricks and mortar. Prepper mindset kicked in, got another kettle on the boil, ready to fit into my small flask. Make a brew, have that in there, that's to stay hot for about 3 to 4 hours in there, providing I keep the insulation around it, and have easy access to other little bits of nibbly food, because if I get caught out on the journey home and there's any delays, I want to have easy access to get to food and bits and pieces. So I've got a couple of cold drinks in the car that I always have, but say the main thing is going to be a nice, even if it's just lukewarm, sweet cup of tea to keep going, because I'm hoping my journey is not going to take twice as long, and if it is, I need access to sort of refreshments and something to eat. So I've just had my breakfast, I've packed up all my kit, but it's still in the bivvy, and I'm going to assess hopefully 50-50, probably be a deep blue sea scenario. Just talking to Bearded Clam, who's next to me in his little traveller camper van. We've sort of been discussing the logistics of what we might be able to do, but as you can see now externally, I mean, it held up well, condensation inside, but it didn't drip on me. It was only when I went to knock some of the snow off, some of it slid on its own, but when I went to knock some of the snow off, then it vibrated the surface internally, and then there was a few drips, but otherwise I've had no effect from the condensation to actually make anything wet. But then there's my car all nicely snowed under, and there's a better view, not just of people's setups, but people that are left. But the route, oh right, a guy's just leaving now, just turning right, and he's going up that way. That's the route I've got to take, and we're hoping that maybe there's been enough traffic to sort of wetten the snow, so there's traffic on the traction on the tarmac. But that direction, down to there, where the A40 is, one of the main roads going towards Wales and what have you, has been closed. So, terrain looks a little bit different from yesterday when we had the raffle just there. I'm going to find Paul, forest prepper, and one of the organisers, one of the group of the Camp Shaky crew, and he's been sort of monitoring the weather, getting feedback from sort of other preppers in the group, and monitoring back bits of information as the weather has been changing, and trying to update everyone as far as the routes to take back home. My journey, nice steady trail, keeping to the speed limits, and just general driving is about just over 2 hours. It's going to take me twice as long as that. But say, you know, prep mindset's got to kick in, you've got to be realistic about it, safety, efficiency. But it's coming up to about 9:30 now, and in the next 2-3 hours the snow's going to kick in a little bit more. Then that's going to probably shut down some of the roads, and also then the freeze factor is going to kick in about 3-4 o'clock, and then that's it. So I could be here for another day, hopefully not. Okay, so update, I'm going to have to be winched out, and one of our prepper survivalist oppos got his rope, going to tow me out. Yeah, the outlaw! Yes, we met at a preppers meet 2 years ago, and chewed the cud about a lot of things, put the world to rights, and met up again, and I sort of nearly forgot his face. One of them sort of things like, I know the face. He went, yeah, with my son. It was like,
You started growling.
yeah, we've all got either shaved heads, beards, or camo gear or olive greens, so you can never distinguish who's who. I think Matt Tiny Hill, one of the organisers, somewhere over there in a cafe, is going to come over, and where that blue van is, we've got to drive out that way, and he's going to follow me up the hill, which goes up there even further. It's about 30-degree angle, but we're hoping that the snow plough that's been up there 3 or 4 times so far is going to turn the snow to slush, so you've got some traction on the road, and at least I can get up there before it freezes again, because I don't want to be overnight. So at this point I'm going to say my farewells. With a white out behind me, And right, thanks for watching this cold and frosty festive Camp Shaky. Farewells, thanks for watching, really appreciate your interest, and again, catch you in another video soon. Cheers, take care.
Hang on.
Right, hang on a minute, here we go.
I got the top on.
So I'm on the road.
I got nothing on.
Without these guys, I wouldn't be able to get anywhere.
Hang on, car's coming, Pete, you might have to straighten
Right,
that.
okey crokey.
Pete going up the road.
Forward, Pete, forward.